Welcome back to Trend Guards. Today, we're doing a forensic explainer on the medical AI industry. We're cutting through all the marketing hype and looking exclusively at verified, real-world data. We're going to trace the exact journey of healthcare AI right now, from algorithms that might literally deny your medical care, all the way to bespoke mRNA vaccines that are honestly genuine clinical breakthroughs. So let's get right into it.
We're starting off with a pretty stark, confirmed fact. Right now, as we speak, an algorithm is actively making decisions about who gets access to Medicare care across 6 US states. That's not some future projection. It is happening right now. Okay, let's dive into this and see exactly what we're looking at today. According to official CMS documentation, there's a pilot program going on right now called WISR, running through the end of 2031 in states like Texas, Ohio, and New Jersey. The underlying tech is provided by a company called Humata Health, and it essentially acts as an automated prior authorization system. On paper, it's pretty straightforward. A doctor submits a request, the AI scans it against specific criteria, and it either issues an instant approval or it flags it for human review. Now, the vendor claims the AI cannot outright deny a claim on its own. But the real-world reporting tells a very different story. Investigations by Science Focus, the Lund Report, and CBS News reveal that optimizing for what the vendor calls touchless approval actually creates massive friction. If the AI needs absolutely perfect criteria to approve a case, well, any complex case, or literally just a simple miscoded field, creates a delay. And here is why this matters to you, the accountability gap. Humata's leadership has publicly stated they expect around 88% accuracy. Think about that scale. At the massive scale of Medicare, a 12% gap means thousands of delayed heart scans or cancer treatments, and there's zero clear regulatory accountability for that delay. You might be wondering, how do these tools even make it into hospitals in the first place? Well, we turn to a staggering analysis published in Inside Precision Medicine. Out of 1,357 AI-based medical devices cleared by the FDA for patient care, exactly 3, yes, literally 3, have prospective, randomized clinical evidence showing they actually help patients live longer or better. To put that into perspective, 99.8% of cleared medical AI currently lacks rigorous outcome testing.
So how does a data gap this massive even happen? It all comes down to the 510(k) clearance pathway. Basically, the FDA clears most of these AI models by declaring them substantially equivalent to older devices. It's a regulatory system that was originally designed for incremental hardware updates, like releasing a slightly sharper scalpel. But applying a scalpel standard to a highly complex learning algorithm, it's kind of like regulating a spaceship just because it technically has doors like a Honda Civic. They only have to prove they match human performance on old historical data. They don't have to prove they actually save lives in the chaotic environment of a real-world hospital.
Looking at the absolute cutting edge of prediction, the Boston Globe recently reported on the Alien-Noli model, which was unveiled by General and Dana-Farber. It scans complex, overlapping electronic health records and genetics to predict your likelihood of developing 348 distinct diseases. Now, the early warning potential here is undeniable. It plots risk trajectories literally years before symptoms even appear. But, as analysts, we have to look at the whole picture and weigh the calibration risk impartially. False positives cascade into unnecessary biopsies, massive patient anxiety, and wasted money. It's great at predicting risk, but it lacks the interventional evidence proving that knowing this risk actually changes your outcome for the better. Which forces us to ask a really critical question here. How exactly do clinicians act on an AI-generated risk score for 348 diseases when they don't have randomized evidence to guide their interventions? This connects right back to that FDA data gap we just talked about. Risk prediction is clinically useless and frankly potentially harmful if acting on that prediction doesn't demonstrably save lives. Now, this is where the value proposition of AI is completely undeniable. Administrative tools, specifically things like Oracle's clinical AI agent. Oracle claims this agent has already saved US physicians over 400,000 hours of documentation work. Mathematically, if you break that down, that's roughly 200 physician years of labor. We're talking nearly $100 million in redirected costs. It takes doctors away from staring at their keyboards and puts them back in front of you, the patient. But a forensic audit means looking closely at the trade-offs. The administrative value of automating coding and dictation is immense for sure, but automated coding errors can instantly escalate into major federal compliance violations. Furthermore, there's a very real risk of what we call cognitive erosion. If a physician just rubber stamps a perfectly formatted AI-generated note without truly reading it, you lose that critical human oversight that makes medicine safe in the first place. Now, this is where AI is delivering verified, truly world-changing outcomes. We're looking at Phase 3 clinical data from Moderna and Merck for their personalized cancer vaccine, known as intismeran autogene. Here's how the INT-Patho-1 trial works in practice. A patient's melanoma tumor is surgically removed and completely sequenced. AI is then brought in as a highly precise design tool to identify the optimal neoantigen mutations that are unique to that specific tumor. Then, a bespoke mRNA vaccine is manufactured and injected, which trains the patient's own T-cells to go out and hunt down any remaining cancer. Notice that here, AI isn't some black box gatekeeper. It's a rigorously validated tool inside a strict clinical framework.
And the verified results are spectacular. When combined with Keytruda, this AI-designed therapy demonstrated a 49% reduction in the risk of recurrence or death at 5 years in resected stage 2B through IV melanoma. So unlike 99.8% of the market we looked at earlier, this is prospective, outcome-based evidence of AI actually saving lives.
Look, we really cannot view medical AI as a single monolithic entity. When we systematically break it down, the landscape is wildly uneven. In triage, with the Wiser pilot, AI is actively deployed but with dangerously thin accountability. In regulation, the FDA is clearing devices at scale, yet 99.8% completely lack outcome testing. Our prediction models, strong retrospectively but very weak prospectively. Automation is providing incredibly high clerical value but carries real compliance risks. It's really only in therapy, with those mRNA neoantigen vaccines, that we see the absolute gold standard of Phase 3 evidence. The bottom line here, the technology is moving vastly faster than our regulatory oversight. Which leaves us with a final, vital question to think about. Should the FDA demand outcome evidence before clearing medical AI? And should an algorithm ever be allowed to run prior authorizations without a direct human appeal path? Medicine is literally being rebuilt right in front of us, but the foundation is incredibly uneven. Thanks so much for joining me for this TrendGuards Explainer. Demand evidence, stay informed, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It really helps the channel grow. See you in the next video.